For this project, I am going to be making the McCalls M6959. It's an easy wrap dress. I am going to be making this dress for the summer wrap dress challenge. It's the hashtag sew together for summer. And I purchased this premium cotton fabric from Hobby Lobby. It was on sale. It was on clearance for $4 a yard. So I needed 3 yards of that for this project. I am going to be doing view C with the collar, but I am going to be using sleeve A, the variation for sleeve A. It is June 14th today, and the project is supposed to be completed by June 21st. That's the last day of the challenge. I hope that I will be able to get it done. Okay, so I am going to get started. After making a mock-up for this bodice, for the bodice of McCalls M6959, I traced out my own pattern pieces and I made the necessary adjustments to the bodice, and I went ahead and cut out everything using my pinking shears. So I am coming along on this project. It's still the first day, and I was able to make a mock-up and also cut out the pattern pieces. I am hoping that everything will continue to go good, and I should be able to have this project completed by Monday or Tuesday. And then I will go ahead and focus on other projects and other challenges. Okay, so let me get back to work and I will continue to update my progress. Within the instructions of the McCalls M6959 pattern, it calls for single fold bias tape, and the bias tape is supposed to go at the base of the sleeve. And then also, if you see here, for view A, if you were to make view A, the bias tape will go around the neck all the way down the dress, and then also on the hem of the dress as well. Well, I'm not going to do all of that. I'm just going to put the bias tape at the base of my sleeves, and I went ahead and made my own bias tape because it's cheaper. And then also I like the idea of having my bias tape cut out of the same fabric that I'm using. I find that it blends well together and it looks much more flattering. I went ahead and cut out the ties for this dress as well. And the pattern does not tell you to use ties on here, but I think that I am going to use the ties because I feel like I'm going to need that security. So I made my own ties here out of the same fabric that the rest of my garment is made with. I just put my dark placements in the front skirt, and I'm going to do that to the back skirt and as well as the bodice. And then I am going to call it quits for tonight, and I hope I am able to get more done tomorrow. Okay, so this is day 2 of this project. It's June 15th and it is about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And I did start on this project this morning. I was able to sew up all of the seam lines for the bodice at the side seams, the neck. I did this stay stitching going between these 2 points here on the neck as the directions indicate. I was able to fuse together the interfacing to the back facing of the neck, and then also the front facing as well. I was able to fuse those together. So I finished the skirt seams, and I was able to create this front placket here. It called for just a small placket on the front of both sides of the skirt. So basically what you need to do is fold this placket in half, and this is the fold line here, and after you fold it in half and then you fold it on the fold line, that creates the placket, and it's like that for the left side and the right side. This is the center front of it, and this is the center front of the left, and then this is the center front of the right. And so after creating the plackets on both the left and the right by folding over the fabric twice, creating that placket, you would match up the center front right and the center front left, and then that gives the skirt that really nice, beautiful wrap design that we all love in wrap dresses. So that's basically where I'm at right now with this project. Again, this is the skirt portion of it. I sewed the darts in, so all of those are placed in the front and the back, and then I also did the darts for the bodice as well. So all of that is done after I put the facing on and attach the bodice to the skirt. I will be almost done. All I would need to do is do either sleeves on here or put this in bias tape and then hem the bottom of the skirt. I did have some fitting issues with the bust, and because my arms are bigger than the rest of my body and not proportionate to my size, I always have an issue with the armhole. So if I sew my side seams to a certain size, it usually does not match the armhole, and that would not be an issue if my arms were smaller, but we'll see what I can do, and if I can just maybe create a sleeve that will complement my biceps a little bit more, and that can also fit into this hole here, this armhole, without compromising the side seams of the garment. Today is June 16th, Saturday. I did not get as much done as I had hoped yesterday, and that was largely due to my son waking up from his nap, and I wasn't able to complete the task that I was working on. So if you remember in the beginning of the video, I did say that I made my own ties for this project, and I decided to place the ties at the base of the bodice, so at the bottom of the bodice, and then so on this side, that would be the right side that overlaps over the left side. So I wanted to put the tie at the base of the garment here, and then the other tie I want to insert into the seam here, so that way when I overlap this right side of the garment over top of the left side, I can use the ties to tie on the side of the garment. Unfortunately, the McCalls M6959 pattern does not have instructions on how to make a tie in that way that goes over top the garment. It only has instructions for how to use bias tape for view A, and then also how to use ribbon to tie your garment, and their instructions are not what I am envisioning for my ties and for my project. So I decided that I wanted to do something different. Also, the instructions say to put a hook and eye, to put an hook and eye on the inside of the garment, so that when you close it, you can hook the garment closed. I find that way not to be as efficient, so I'm not quite sure on how I'm going to tackle this project yet. My son is still sleeping, and I have a little bit of time to be able to figure things out and hopefully put the garment together. I just need to refocus and try to figure out how I'm going to put this facing on in a way that I can also include the ties. We'll update what I have decided to go with and how. Here I'm just deciding whether or not I want to have the garment with or without bias piping. I decided to keep the piping because I really like the contrast that the piping gives to the garment. I chose white bias piping because I think that white complements this garment really beautifully. I decided to omit the collar for this project because I went with the bias piping, and because this garment has neck interfacing, so interfacing at the back and then also interfacing going down the length of the garment. I felt as though adding a collar would add a lot of bulkiness to the garment, and so I definitely have decided to omit the collar. And anyway, I really like the piping, and so I'm just going to go ahead and keep the piping because it just looks really nice and adds detail to the garment. And so that's my plan, is to keep the piping and omit the collar. And now I am going to put on the sleeves. So this is the homemade bias tape that I have made. If you want to see a tutorial on that, click on the iCard above this YouTube video. And I'm just going to put this bias tape on the edge of my sleeve. So this is my sleeve. I went ahead and made all my markings to indicate where the back is and the front. And I put in the stitching here, the long stitch, so that I can gather the hem sleeve. And now I just have to put sleeve on and hem or put the bias tape at the edge of the sleeve, and I should be pretty much done today. Today is June 20th. I did not intend on spending this much time on this project, but I just had so many things come up this week, and I just couldn't get around to doing it. But it will be done before the end of the challenge, so stay tuned for the reveal and the finished look. Remember, I mentioned in the earlier update of this that I put bias tape on it. Well, when I put the bias tape on the bottom, I really didn't like the way that it came out. I did a top stitch after flipping the bias tape over, and I like that better. I like it because it's more slimming and it looks really nice. The stitching is all nice and even. So I just did not like the way that the bias tape looked on this particular style. So all in all, this garment is coming along quite nicely. I do have to do some finishing touches on it, but after I put the finishing touches on it, I will be practically done. I am going to wash it, get the marks out of the garment, and then give the garment one final press, and then I will do the reveal, and I will talk a little bit more in depth about the things that I liked about this pattern and things that I didn't like about this pattern, and if I were to make this pattern again, what would I do differently. For the hem of this dress, I decided to go with something very simple and very basic. I fold the hem of the garment 5/8 of an inch twice, and then I sewed the bottom of the garment with a 2.5 length stitch going all the way around the entire garment. And I wanted something very simple, very basic, because I thought that it would complement the style of the dress. And I was right. It's just so very cute, and I think a wide hem probably would not have suited this type of garment. And so I'm really grateful that I went with the very small narrow hem. And I didn't do anything special. I didn't follow the directions, and I don't know what the directions say on, you know, what to do with the hem. I just decided to go with the small narrow hem because I thought it would suit this project. Okay, so now for the big reveal. This is the finished garment. I really like the way that it came out. I really like the colors, and I also like the detail of the bias piping. However, I don't like the colors of the dress on me. Although I really love the print of the dress, I think the style of the dress is just does not suit my frame. Particularly, I think that I should have gone with a more silky type fabric so that it can hang a little bit more loose instead of going with the stiffer cotton. I just feel like this makes me look like I am in the 1960s and that I am a maid or someone's help, and I just don't really look like this this style on me. I think I should have definitely gone with a different fabric choice. I did do a whip stitch going down the length of the dress so that it can secure the side here of the dress, and then I added this bow. I know in the beginning I said that I made ties for it. Instead of using the ties, I decided to go ahead and use the hook and eye and to put a bow here because I felt like the ties made the dress look even more like it was made attire. And so I did away with the ties and just put the bow there, and it did make it look a little bit more flattering. I did go with the sleeves as I stated in the beginning as well, and I really like the way that the sleeves turned out. Usually I have a really hard time with the sleeves because my biceps are so big, but for this project it worked really well. The bias tape, I really love the way that it came out as well, and the interfacing and the facing just looks so beautiful on this garment. I'm really proud of myself for making this garment. The only complaints I have is, like I said, I don't like the style of the dress, but the pattern itself was very simple, very easy. If I were to make it again, like I stated before, I would do it in a simple silky type print, maybe something blue or something purple. I've been told before that those two colors complement my skin tone really beautifully. To give the sleeves more character and detail, I decided to leave the gathers in the top of the garment so that it would look less like a housekeeper or a maid type garment. I think that it really worked well for this particular garment. I wanted to make sure that I provided the sleeves with enough character and enough details that it stood out, but that it didn't look too weird. That's the end of this pattern review. Thank you guys for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so already, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye.